Yeah, just a short video I made about me buying a GS750 1979 Suzuki off a fellow at work for $600, and you know what it takes to get it back on the road after sitting for 20 years, and just going through a few things. I mean, it's real important when you get these old motorcycles. You know, even they were really focused on it in the late 70s, is you know, staying alive. So I was going to make a quick video about I have a 1979 GS750 Suzuki, and problems with it running. So it's got bad points in it, so I was going to replace these points with the Dynatech electronic ignition module, and have no idea what I'm doing. So we'll see how this comes out. And in the meantime, I'll show you everything you need to know about points. I'm really an expert. Okay, so I moved the 3 screws that were in here, and then this hunk of junk fell out. Then, these instructions are the worst ever. I'm taking this out. This whole assembly comes out. I do this with one hand. And then, looks like I take this apart, slide. This part must go away, and this new black piece must go in here. I guess this is the mechanical advanced spring assembly, we'll call it. Then this thing has a magnet. Okay, so back with this episode of Engine Masters. The Google told me that on the left side of the bike is #1 cylinder, so we wanted it top dead center, which you use your supplied #1 cylinder checker. So that piston is right there after I took out the spark plug. So we're at top dead center on 1. And there goes my cylinder checker. Okay, so according to reading the instructions again, this washer that comes in your kit, it is dead to us. There it goes. That is for late model bikes that already have electronic ignition. So that's that. So you reuse this. There was a sleeve that I took off, and once you take off that sleeve, bloop, that fits down in there. Now, so this is the mechanical advance. It's got a slot, and we've got a teat. I can't do this with so you put it on there, then you slide this black thing that came with it. Now that little indentation, we got cylinder #1 to top dead center, and they said that has to go facing your left. So this thing, the teat lines up just like that, nub to the left. Now I'm going to install the bolt next. Okay, so I got the bolt in. You reuse the hex washer, and it also slides in slots. And the thing is, after I get this tightened down, this is still loose. This is working out. So it's loose and it can operate those things. There's little slots too. Everything has a slot to it. There's like 10 slots, so just keep aligning slots. Don't know what I'm doing, but these are identical depths here. And there's still this plate that could come out, but since these are identical thicknesses, I'm going to leave the plate in. This may be the beginning of my undoing. Alright, so I just bolted the plate in. That was pretty self-explanatory. 3 screws, bada bing. And I just put it right in the middle because the timing thing, I'm really pretty unsure on that part also. So now it becomes the horrible task of removing this, the points style. Points. And the wire runs like underneath the motor, so this should be thoroughly horrible. Woo! Okay, so follow the wires up on this side of your bike. There's only 2 wires. That was the old point system, so just unplug them from there, and there is in fact a black and a white in the stock thing. One small step is I took the old grommet here off the point system and slid it ever so carefully. Bloop. So now it's working with this. So this is the tedious task of routing this. I had to take out 3 bolts and they're little hanger things. So, and it's kind of hot. Moving on. Okay, so last step is there's an orange and white wire that goes to both your coils. It's in the instructions. You find it. There's a red wire that goes down, and that is your 3rd wire in here, because the black and the white just hook in like the other points did, and then the red wire is 24 volts switched on your ignition. So I've got this installed. I have no idea what's going to happen, and if you can believe it, my videos are not edited, so this will actually be the first time I try it. Dear God, what's going to happen? It is open header, so that should add a, you know. The battery's dead. Well, it started! Alright, so, got kind of late last night, so I did get the bike to fire up. Would not idle worth a crap. So I thought the problem was the points, but it looks like it was a fuel problem. So after much searching on the internet, I took all 4 of the carbs off. I took the bottom float bowls off, and what you have is a main jet and this tube thing. So I used a little copper wire to poke out the tube things. And like I said, the main jet goes in there. Those are the main jets. Then I pulled out the stranded wire. What is right here, that little hole, these little things go in. So those are the idle jets. Now, after much work in soaking them in carb cleaner for an hour, in this little jar, I can now put a copper wire all the way through them. They were completely, all 4 of them, totally plugged. So there was absolutely nothing getting to this bike to idle. So, I know this is just a points video, but we've turned into carburetors. So, put it back together and we'll see how it goes. So after cleaning the idle jets out, it just idles perfectly. So that's all it took. So I guess the electronic distributor is working just fine. One thing about it, see, I've got it pretty much all the way retarded. I started out with it right in the middle, and it was just cracking and popping and making terrible sounds. That was because it was pre-detonating. It was just too advanced. When you do that, it creates a tremendous amount of heat and completely can melt your motor. So if it's cracking and popping and acting wild, you just got to retard the timing, and that's by rotating that little plate clockwise and tightening the screws back down. So I haven't put a timing light on it. And then the second thing, it just started dumping fuel out of the fuel bowl because of a homemade gasket was holding onto the float. So I've got to tear it back apart again and fix that. So I could have blown up, but besides that, we did pretty good. So that was the carburetor. So I made my own little gasket there out of a sheet of some kind of rubbery stuff, compared to the cork gasket that was made that started to, I don't know, as soon as it hit air, it just wrinkled up and shrunk in on the sides. So that's it. Oh, and what I was talking about, this float. Whoop, whoop. See, on the side it was hitting it, and I knew it was kind of going to be a problem, but I figured it would work, but it didn't. Well, as usual, my videos became a train wreck, but anyways, I mean, that's how good she runs right now, with kind of out of fuel and stuff, but okay, it's a dumb video. This was my my floats were overflowing, so I took apart out the needle valve right there, and there's the what the needle valve went in, the seat thing. This little piece of poop fell out. It's a rubber hose or something, and that was causing fuel to dump out of the overflows. So that's it. Well, this video is kind of turning into everything I had to do to get it roadworthy. If you take this cap off, my thank you, Chuck. My bike, I couldn't push it very good at all. Well, the back brakes were seized up. These pins, it's real easy to do, but take them out and sand them down so everything floats in there really nice now. Just under this plastic cover. And let's see what else I did today. There's a bearing in here for your wheel bearings, and I've replaced these bearings. About that, you have to beat them out. Stick something through here and beat that one out, and stick something through it. Chuck! Quit. And then beat it out this way. There's a shoulder behind these bearings on the front and the rear tires. So do not try to press them out all the way, like out here, and press it out the bottom, because there's a shoulder and you'll bust the hub in half. So that was that, and I got new tires on. That was the big thing today. So I went with put an inner tube back in them. I was looking at sealing them up, but I put back an inner tube, and I put on Michelin Pilot Actives. I don't know, I always get Michelin tires. So, oh, and then taking it apart, trying to get it apart the other day. This is a new, for 50 bucks off eBay, new rear caliper, master cylinder, but these bolts busted, snapped right off on me, taking them off the bike on my other caliper. I guess this aluminum dielectric reaction with the steel bolt after 40 years, 40 plus, so that killed that. So ready to go here.